The council chamber of the Galactic Assembly had never known such silence. Where once the representatives of 1,000 worlds had gathered in vibrant debate, now only the echoes of their own breathing filled the vast crystalline hall. Ambassador Zixthar of the Valorian Dominion stared at the empty seat marked with Earth's insignia, a simple blue marble suspended in darkness, and felt something his species rarely experienced: regret. It had been 67 cycles since the humans withdrew. Alba Martinez stood on the observation deck of the Persistence, humanity's last diplomatic vessel in council space. Her dark eyes watched the swirling nebula beyond the viewport, her expression unreadable. Behind her, the soft hum of the ship's engines was the only sound breaking the stillness. "They're still sending requests," Paco Chen said, entering the deck with a datapad in hand. His voice carried a weariness that came from months of watching the same pattern repeat. 17 more today. The Valorians, the Kryn hegemony, even the Shaleth collective. Alba didn't turn. "What are they asking for this time?" "Medical assistants, agricultural consultants, defense engineers." Paco set the datapad down on the console with a soft click. "The Kryn border colonies are facing a famine. Their terraforming technology is failing." "The same technology they said was superior to ours," Alba replied, her tone flat. "The same technology they insisted they didn't need human help to maintain." Paco moved to stand beside her, following her gaze into the cosmic expanse. "You remember the vote?" How could she forget? Alba had been there, in that very chamber, when the council had voted to restrict human participation in galactic affairs. The humans were too aggressive, they said, too unpredictable, too willing to interfere in matters that didn't concern them. Humanity's insistence on helping species the council deemed beneath intervention was seen as dangerous idealism. The vote was 847-3. Only the Quillari, the Tembreth, and the Tiny Nix Collective had stood with Earth. "They expected us to fight," Alba said softly, "to argue, to protest, to demand our rights like we always had. But we didn't," Paco finished. "No, humanity had simply left." Within 6 months, every human ambassador, every human trade vessel, every human aid worker, engineer, and scientist had withdrawn from council space. The humans pulled their medical ships from the frontier worlds, recalled their agricultural advisors from developing planets, and dismantled their defense installations protecting vulnerable species from raiders. They did it without fanfare, without speeches, without a single word of recrimination. The silence had been more damning than any accusation. Zixthar reviewed the reports streaming across his neural interface, and each one was worse than the last. The Valorian outer colonies, once protected by human defense grids, had fallen to pirate raids within weeks. The Kryn agricultural worlds, dependent on human-designed irrigation systems, were experiencing crop failures. The Shaleth medical facilities, which had relied heavily on human-trained physicians and human pharmaceutical supplies, were overwhelmed. Even the great powers of the council were feeling the absence. The humans had been the ones who maintained the quantum relay network that enabled faster-than-light communication across the galaxy. They'd been the ones who volunteered for the dangerous survey missions that no other species wanted. They'd been the engineers who could fix anything, the doctors who treated everyone, the diplomats who actually listened. "We didn't realize," Counselor Vethamora whispered during the emergency session, her crystalline form flickering with distress. "We didn't realize how much they did." "They were everywhere," another counselor added. "In the background, fixing things, helping, teaching. We took it for granted." Zixthar's tendrils curled in shame. The humans had never demanded credit. They simply saw something that needed doing and did it. And when the council told them to stop, they did. Completely. Alba received a personal message 3 weeks later. It came from Quillari Prime, one of the 3 species that had voted against humanity's expulsion. Ambassador Martinez. The hologram of Ambassador Tirea appeared before her, the bird-like alien's feathers ruffled in distress. "Please. The council is collapsing. Systems are failing across the galaxy. The humans were the glue holding everything together, and we never saw it. Alba remained silent, letting Terea continue. They're finally understanding what they threw away, Terea said. Pride made them reject your help, and now pride prevents them from admitting their mistake. But planets are suffering, children are dying. Not the council members in their comfortable chambers, but the ordinary beings on 1,000 worlds who needed what only humanity was willing to provide. So they send you, Alba said quietly. Because we never voted against you. Terea's large eyes glistened. I'm asking not for the council, but for those who have no voice in it. The refugees, the sick, the vulnerable. You always helped them before, regardless of politics. Paco watched as Alba closed her eyes, taking a slow breath. He knew what she was thinking. The council had betrayed humanity's trust, rejected their friendship, and dismissed their contributions. But the people suffering now weren't the ones who had voted against them. We're not coming back to the council, Alba said finally, her voice firm. Not to their terms, not to their rules, not to be tolerated as barely acceptable members of their precious assembly. Terea's feathers drooped in disappointment. But, Alba continued, and Terea looked up sharply, we never stopped being human. Send us the coordinates of the worlds in need. Not the council worlds, let them figure out their own problems. Send us the refugees, the forgotten, the species they deemed beneath intervention. A slow smile crossed Paco's face. We'll help them, directly. No council oversight, no bureaucratic permissions, no restrictions. Alba turned to face Terea fully. Tell the council that humanity is building a new network, one based on mutual respect, not hierarchy. Any species that wants our help is welcome, but they deal with us as equals or not at all. Terea's hologram flickered with what might have been hope. The council won't like that. Then perhaps, Alba replied, steel in her voice. They should have thought of that before they told us to leave. After Terea's image faded, Paco moved to stand beside Alba once more. You know this changes everything, right? We're essentially building a parallel galactic community. Yes, Alba agreed. One where we don't have to beg for permission to help people. One where species are valued for what they contribute, not their military power or political influence. Paco grinned. The council is going to realize they didn't just lose their handymen. They lost their moral center. Alba finally smiled, a fierce expression that Paco recognized from their academy days. Let them. We offered them friendship, and they rejected it. Now they can watch as we build something better. Without them. The Persistence turned away from council space, its engines flaring to life. Behind them, the Great Assembly wrestled with the consequences of their choices. Ahead of them, a galaxy of forgotten worlds waited, and humanity was coming to answer their call, not in conquest, not in domination, but in the way humans always had, with open hands, stubborn hope, and the unshakable belief that everyone deserved help, regardless of what any council decreed. The humans had withdrawn silently, but their absence spoke louder than 1,000 speeches ever could.